Test, test. All right, it's 5 o'clock. So this is our second webinar, but it will be our first on building the sub-assemblies to Dexter. So what we're going to start with here, and forgive the camera work, but we're going to start with the, I'll turn it around this way. This is our base assembly. So we got base light, base bottom, stator holder, the 4 feet. We got our carbon fiber strakes, our aluminum strakes, some all thread, and then the nuts and bolts you'll need for this particular build. So we'll get started. I'm going to ask you to, when using the epoxy, certainly use the gloves and goggles. Just safe procedure. But we're going to start with dry fitting. So if you want to grab that camera, Lucas, and just focus on what I'm doing, yeah, you'll just have to hold it like that. So you're just going to check to make sure your parts go through. You can see up here, this will be our 0 layer. So typically when there's fettling that needs to be done, you can identify the bottom. Trying to hold this up real quick. You see how these are to support and hold the slip ring. So those will be at the top, and so the bottom piece here will be typically where we deal with the ooze layer or 0 layer. So all I'm doing is making sure I can bust my parts all the way through that. It's a circle, so it's infinite. I'm actually going to do one more thing before we start. There is a more, and we're going to put this live on Facebook as well. So once you checked all your parts on the base light, then I recommend doing the same thing. Taking an aluminum rod or one of the aluminum strakes and slide it in and out of all the parts, because the next phase will be our glue phase. And so we can glue all of these together with one of the, we have the epoxy, be able to do all of this with that one syringe. And again, if you get catches, there is a file kit that's included in the assembly or the kit. And if you have to fettle any of these edges down, you do that before you start the gluing. So this is a stator. Again, we're going to have the 0 layers on the bottom. So if you can see if we can get better light on that. There we go. This will be the top part, and the one with the slopes is the bottom. So any 0 layer or fettling may need to be done on there. Let's see some of the Velcro that we're putting the kits on. So far, I'm not having any dramatic 0 layer issues. That one was a little tight, but still fine. This piece will actually not receive any glue. I think that's it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the base light and grab my strakes. We got the epoxy gun going. In the kits, we ship these. This was just a cheaper way to get a glue gun. These are 80 bucks. This is 50 cents in plastic. So for this exercise, I have this one hooked up already. I'll start with this. So again, here's the top of the part, and we're going to apply the glue to the bottom at the 0 layer. What I usually do is a squeeze in. I do all 6. If you're feeling more comfortable to get used to it, you can do one at a time. But we got about 20-minute pot life on the epoxy, so this step will not take 20 minutes. So, and now starting from the bottom, insert, and you're going to feel almost like a hydraulic. It's going to be much easier to go in and out, and you'll see that's just not enough. I want a better coating. So what it's telling me is I'm going to apply a little more in there. That feels better. And then what you're going to do, it's not as important right now, is you're going to leave about 2 millimeters off the top. Sorry about that. Hopefully that'll focus in things. And we just go around and do the next ones. And we're starting from the bottom and going to the top because we don't want to get any epoxy on these parts of the strakes. These have to slide through the stator and into the base bottom. And so you don't want to, it just saves you some cleanup. And I'm looking, I don't like the coat pattern I'm getting, so I'm going to apply a little more. Felt good. Yeah, that one's hole's going to need a little more too. In fact, this is too light on the glue on the first go around, so. That's better. And again, we apply, you'll use quite a bit of that epoxy throughout, and sometimes it's to hold these strakes in, sometimes it's, we actually use it structurally. I'll show you on the next build in the arm body, we coat generously. And you can kind of tell when you just push it lightly, you'll feel it a drag and know you're getting a nice glaze over all parts of the strakes. And what you can do, or I do, is if you're cleaning up and have some extra, put it into the next hole. So now that they're all in, it's going to be a dry time. So what I do, clean up the tops of the strakes. Because you got to have clean areas around here, because your code disk on the final base assembly will slide down and on those. So you're going to want them cleaned off. Once the top part's cleaned off, that's when I go in to kind of fine tune it. So I got a nice, that's all you need, just that little bit out. And I'll go around, adjust them to the same height. You can eyeball it, or you can actually put on the code disk. And get the right height, but basically all like that. And then I set this to dry like that. And also, if there's any of the epoxy that made it down onto the strakes below, it's a good time to clean it up. So get them to nice 2 mils and set it aside. Again, the pot life on this is about 20 minutes. We found we're out here in Vegas, so setting it out in the sun for 20 certainly cured this up real quickly. Another place to check to make sure you don't get the epoxy is that, a bearing is going to sit in here, so you want a clean bearing bed. So I just clean that out and we'll set it aside. Now we're going to do the next thing with the feet. I pour the epoxy right into the well, try to aim it towards the sides to get the aluminum on the way down. Take your aluminum. Wiggle it in there. You're going to see some, typically you got good enough glue in there when you see it well up and squeeze out the sides. So you can pull it out, turn it back in, and then I usually let them dry like that. We actually had another person, this is our second base we're building today. Addington has a new client and a vacation person, Gary, from NASA. Gary, I don't even, what's your?
Qualls.
Qualls, Gary Qualls has been with us. He came in last night. We visited until about 11:30. Kind of get a feel for what we wanted to get out of today. So we started full-on assembly about 11-ish, and we're able to get the base done. Arm body, we just connected the pivot to the base, and when we're done with this webinar, we'll finish up connecting the arm body, or he's doing it right now, arm body to base, or pivot. I'd show you what it looks like inside, but it's just difficult to see. That one could be a burr on the aluminum. There it goes. The other thing, it was our first build, a Dexter build with using the onyx material from Mark Forge. So that was exciting for us. Now I could tell how that one went in. I didn't get the ooze on either side, so I am going to add some more. And last one, and again, these are just Velcros to attach them to the shadow boards that come out. And I'll see if I can't get the light on here. These are, what we did was we designed little wells here, and what we found for anti-slipping is hot glue, pour hot glue right in there. It adheres, and then it acts as a real nice anti-skid, or a skid, not anti-skid. And again, if you come up with ideas, please share them. We'd like to make sure the community knows what we're doing. And same thing. There we go. So I leave mine to dry like this. You can leave them to dry like this, but we'll also show you then you can go forward and get these. Do the kind of the same pour, look for the same type of ooze coming out, and we'll put them right into the, so I'm trying to get on the sides first. And I'm looking for that little bead right there. Lets me know we got enough in there. Also make sure when you're gluing, this is the top. This is the top. You'll see those marks for the hot glue on the bottoms. I've made the mistake in the past, glued it in this way. You just have to find that before the glue sets. You're great. If not, print a new base. Start over. And again, all of our files, our software, the STLs are all on GitHub, Thingiverse, and Onshape. Almost did it. Again, just looking for that tiny little bead lets me know. And we came up with that mostly after just making enough of these that we've only had 1 or 2 failures on the legs, and that's when we didn't see a bead or I was stingy with the glue. And last one. So then it's back to clean up. If you're going to do another assembly build with the same nozzle, what we found a little trick that William Ha, who is our vacation person from China, is what he did is just set his timer, and about every 15-20 minutes he came down and just squeezed the trigger, to get a little bead, and that keeps this from curing on you. So you can extend the nozzle life. So once it's cleaned up, you can set both pieces aside. You'll notice that the glue will start to get tacky and set up within about 20 minutes. Faster if it's in heat or light. Maybe not light, but just heat. And you are done with the gluing part of the base. On the next one, and literally this will be ready to dry. You can start working on it in about an hour. We usually give it 2. You will not use the other parts to this assembly until you're connecting the arm body or the pivot to the base light. So our next build will be next Thursday. We will it'll be I think what we're doing is a pivot.
Yep.
We'll be doing the pivot, and that's a 2 glue phase step. So what I'm going to do is show you the pivot, how to glue it in, and then grab one that we've already glued up earlier and show you how to complete the rest of the pivot. So if you have any questions about the build, we did record this. I hope it recorded. We'll post that, and you can use this as a reference if you need to. That and the manual. The manual is also up on our website as well. That's hdrobotic.com. Thanks for attending, and if you have any feedback, you can email me directly at toddenerson@hdrobotic.com. Thanks for watching.